A very good evening. This is the World News at 6 on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. My name is Utuak Daniel. Here are the top stories. On the headlines, Tinubu receives Benin Republic, Niger, Guinea-Bissau presidents in Aso Rock. Still on the headlines, Reps Minority Whip appoints 6 aides. Also on headlines, NCDC to tackle outbreak of anthrax. And on the foreign scene, UK's migration bill at odds with international law. And in the world of sport, Team Nigeria win 13 medals at African badminton tourney. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has met with the presidents of Benin Republic, Patrice Talon, Niger Republic, Mohamed Bazoum, and the Guinea-Bissau, Umaru Sissoko Embalo at the presidential villa, Abuja. The three neighboring African presidents came separately and were received at the forecourt by the Brigade of Guards before they proceeded to Tinubu's office. Although reasons for the meeting were not officially made public, as at the time of filing this report, the visiting presidents are expected to be discussing primarily issues around economies with their host. To yet another story, this time with the Vice President Kashim Shettima, having you know that he is currently meeting a delegation of Nigerian Economic Summit Group, that is the NESG, at the presidential villa Abuja. The chairman of the NESG board of directors, Olani Yusuf, led the delegation to the meeting. The courtesy visit is also aimed to, among other things, notify the VP of the 29th Nigerian Economic Summit, which holds on October 23 to 24, 2023, and to invite him to give the closing address of the summit. Tuesday's discussion will also feature possible areas of collaboration between the NESG and the Office of the Vice President and National Economic Council on strategic presidential priorities and initiatives. The NESG was incorporated in 1996 by a group of private sector leaders after co-hosting 3 successive Nigerian economic summits with the federal government. And now to matters that concern the House of Representatives. Let's have you know that the House of Representatives Minority Whip, Ali Isa, has appointed 6 aides. Isa, a member of the People's Democratic Party, represents the Biliri Federal Constituency of Gombe State. He recently defeated Vice Chairman House Committee on Solid Minerals, Victor Danzaria, during the 2023 National Assembly election to clinch the seat after polling 46,146 votes. However, Danzaria had in 2019 won the seat under the platform of the All Progressives Congress, defeating Isa. Announcing the results for Biliri Federal Constituency, the collation officer Bayu Farouk said the candidate of the PDP polled 46,146 votes to defeat his closest rival, who polled 28,251 votes. According to him, the federal constituency has 81,903 as total votes cast, 79,231 as valid votes, while 2,672 votes are void. Making his recent move to settle loyalists and reward hard work, Isa in a statement explained that the appointments were based on merit, adding that he considered the first 3 awards with the highest number of votes. Talking to you and more stories coming up, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, that is the NCDC, has deployed all necessary apparatus, including the World Health Organization, that is the WHO approach, to fighting dreadful diseases to curtail the outbreak of anthrax in Nigeria. The Director General of NCDC, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, said the outbreak of the disease in Niger State was worrisome. According to him, Nigeria was prepared to tackle anthrax the same way it did triumphantly against COVID-19. Dr. Adetifa said contact tracing of those who had contact with the first identified case in the country has begun in earnest to curtail the virus from spreading further. Joining us this evening to discuss the symptoms and factors of the disease is the assistant
that cattle during grazing, they pick up this bacteria either from soil or from water or from grains, and then this bacteria can be transmitted to humans if humans consume most of this dairy product uncooked. Also, the anthrax can be inhaled via airborne. So the toxins of this anthrax can also elicit, this bacterium can also elicit a lot of toxins.
So, doctor, let me ask you, what are the symptoms though?
The symptoms are shortness in breath, persistent fever, difficulty in breathing, and also you have some gastrointestinal tract complications.
All right. What then could we say would be the risk factors of this disease?
The risk factor of this disease is having close contact with animals.
Okay.
Yeah, for people that keep domestic animals, we need to husbandry. They have to be very, very careful and have high suspicious index of this disease. Most especially that this disease is, the first case was discovered in a farm around Suleja,
right,
where it was confirmed. Also, once you buy your meat products, you need to cook it very well. Those are the kind of risk factors that are associated with anthrax.
So can we say that this is or this has similarity with bird flu?
No, this one doesn't have a similarity with bird flu.
Okay.
Bird flu is actually a disease of poultry. It is a viral disease, but it is a bacterial disease, so, basically of livestock and husbandries.
Okay. So what could be the precautionary measures that one needs to, put into consideration?
Precautionary measures is that we need to keep our environment clean. 1, 2, we need to apply the non-pharmaceutical safety measures of properly washing our hands and then be able to see to how our food are kept in hygienic places. Proper cooking of food should be encouraged at this time, and then we need to also keep a distance from domestic animals, animals that we rear within our household.
Well, Prof, I have seen an image representation of this virus, so I'm forced to wanting to ask: is there any treatment for now?
It is not a virus. It is a bacteria.
Oh, it's a bacteria.
Let me correct you for that.
Okay.
There are treatments for this. The treatment is just to actually handle or be able to manage the signs and symptoms. And then, so there are treatments for that.
Okay.
What we need to do is if there are, because it is actually a severe disease, because it also causes the flex of the neck. The neck becomes so locked that you cannot be able to turn your neck. So basically, once this is isolated from an individual through a laboratory process we call culture, it can be managed, and then we need to also prevent the transmission of these diseases to the next person. Once we begin to have occurrence of these diseases within a population, it becomes a public health emergency.
So are there any vaccines for this?
Yeah, there are no vaccines for anthrax. The only vaccines that we have of a class closer to anthrax is tetanus. So the organism that causes anthrax is called Bacillus anthracis, and then another thing that causes tetanus is called Clostridium tetani. Both of these bacteria produces toxins, but the one that we have vaccine for it is the tetanus, not the anthrax. So anthrax for now doesn't have a vaccine.
All right, thank you so very much, erudite Prof, for that, given or for your take on the matter today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Appreciate
and have a rewarding evening ahead.
You too. And now moving on, let's have you know that We will just quickly jump to the foreign scene right after now. And on the foreign scene, let's quickly have you know that the United Nations has said the United Kingdom's controversial bill aimed at stopping thousands of migrants and refugees from arriving is at odds with the country's obligations under international law. The UN Refugee and Human Rights Chiefs said the illegal migration bill, which has been passed by Parliament and now awaits the formality of royal assent from King Charles III, is at variance with the country's obligations under international human rights and refugee law and will have profound consequences for people in need of international protection. The Conservative government's flagship bill will prevent most people from claiming asylum in the UK without permission and will deport them either to their country of origin or a third nation deemed to be safe, such as Rwanda. The bill has been stuck in a battle between the UK Parliament's House of Commons and House of Lords, Britain's unelected upper chamber, which had repeatedly changed the legislation to water it down. Among the amendments proposed and finally defeated in the Lords were a demand for shorter time limits on the detention of unaccompanied children, greater protections for victims of modern slavery, and 6 months delay in the deportation of migrants. Still from the foreign scene, the United Arab Emirates has signed a $1.9 billion deal with a state mining company in the Democratic Republic of Congo, that is the DRC, to develop at least 4 mines in the African country's turbulent east, the Congolese presidency said. The president, Felix Tshisekedi's office said on Monday that an Emirati government delegation had signed the partnership in the capital, Kinshasa. The deal would see the construction of more than 4 industrial mines in the provinces of South Kivu and Maniema. State-owned Sakima has mining concessions for tin, tantalum, tungsten, and gold in that part of the DRC. The statement gave no other details about the deal, including what type of minerals would be extracted. And now let's talk sports. Nigeria won a total of 13 medals at the just concluded All-Africa Para-Badminton Championships held at Lugogo Stadium, Kampala, Uganda. The athletes won 8 gold, 2 silver, and 3 bronze medals. Nana Chigozie and Eniola Bolaji won 3 gold medals respectively to replicate their performance at the Uganda International Para-Badminton Championship held at the same venue last week. The duo edged Mohamed Ismail and Martha Chayev 21-8, 21-5 to clinch gold in the mixed doubles SL3 SU5. In the women's doubles SL3 SU5 final, Eniola paired Okoro Chinyere to beat the Ugandan pair of Sumini Mutesi and Rose Natsereko in 2 straight sets, 21-5, 21-8. Eniola also defeated Uganda's Elizabeth Mwesigwa in 2 straight sets, 21-9, 21-4 in the women's singles SL3, while Chinyere Okoro beat Morenike Olotu of Benin Republic 21-11, 19-21, 21-16 in the final of the women's singles. And now to wrap up, here again are the top stories. We told you Tinubu received Benin Republic, Niger, Guinea-Bissau presidents in Aso Rock. We also told you Rep's Minority Whip appoints 6 aides. We brought to the fore the fact that NCDC to tackle outbreak of anthrax. And on the foreign scene, UK's migration bill at odds with international law. And in the world of sport, Team Nigeria win 13 medals at African badminton tourney. And that is a wrap on the world news at 6. The news was edited and compiled by Alice Ennis and produced by Udwak Daniel. Good evening.